Welcome to PWS United, a podcast for the Prader-Willi syndrome community brought to you by PWSA USA. This podcast gives the latest news in research, advocacy, and family support by bringing together staff, volunteers, PWS treatment specialists, biotech and pharmaceutical representatives, caregivers, family members, and individuals with PWS. Our goal is to connect education, awareness, and resources with those living with PWS and their supporters. Join us in our mission to enhance the quality of life and empower those affected by Prader-Willi syndrome.
Hello, Annie. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Carrie, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm ready for another week. I know it's already into the week a little bit, but I feel refreshed after a nice weekend with some family time and friends. So I'm raring to go. And we're officially in fall, which is wild, but excited to be in fall. It's my favorite season. So
it's my favorite season too. I love it.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Especially I live in Ohio. I don't know if our listeners know that, but it is the most beautiful foliage. I know that, upper East Coast, more northern states, it's ridiculously beautiful. But Ohio, we have, especially from me, I live 10 minutes from a national park, and we love to drive through in the late or mid-October, early November months. And it is the most stunning views I've ever seen. So I'm very excited for that to be on the horizon here.
Nice. I know. I miss that. I miss that living back east.
Yeah, California, you have beautiful redwoods, but maybe not as
beautiful
much.
forests, and we do have a lot of trees that lose their leaves and stuff, but it's not quite the same.
Right.
But anyway, my daughter told me that she actually thinks redwood forests are a little creepy.
Oh.
I was like, oh, okay.
Now you know.
Well, you live here.
We have some right in our backyard, so.
So, Carrie, I think that before we get into the pulse, we should perhaps address the name change. Yeah, so we were PWS Connect, and now we have shifted, and we are now calling the podcast PWS United.
Yes, we made that announcement last week, I believe, on our social media and on our website, but we wanted to make sure it was addressed as well on our podcast platform for our listeners who may have seen our new graphics and wondered, oh, that's different. But this is all part of an ongoing effort to make sure that we best serve the PWS community. So yes, as Annie mentioned, moving forward, our PWSA USA podcast will be known as PWS United. And to learn more about why we made this change, just a little more clarification around this if you're interested, we will have a link in our show notes that gives a little bit more details and background story as to why we're doing this. But essentially, there was some confusion between this name and then our newly introduced and created PWS Connect Discord group. And we just want to make sure that everyone understands the difference between these two community efforts and making sure that people know where to go to find family connections and individual connections versus learning about news and, events and the conversations that we have here. So to make a kind of a distinction between those, there was a little bit of confusion around that. So we wanted to do our best to address that and make it clear. So PWS United.
Yay. All right. Well, so thank you for clarifying that. So now we're going to get into our volume 107 PWSA USA Pulse. This is from September 20th, so just a few days ago. And September is National Service Dog Month. And I put out a poll on social media asking people if they had one for their loved one with PWS or if they wanted one or if not. And the feedback that came in from that was that there is a lot of interest in how a service dog could help, how families could get service dogs. So that kind of sparked this part of the issue, and we have some great blog posts, and so I'll get into that. So National Service Dog Month is celebrated every September to honor and recognize the outstanding ways specially trained dogs assist people around the world. They are the eyes for people who are blind, perform tasks for those with mobility issues, alert people to impending seizures, heart rate spikes, or blood sugar irregularities, soothe veterans who suffer from PTSD, help children with social and emotional challenges, and so much more. Could service dogs help our loved ones with PWS? According to the following blogs, they already are. From the ability to calm a person on the verge of an emotional meltdown, distract from skin picking or potential food seeking, and alerting for elopement, service dogs can be a wonderful asset when facing the challenges of PWS. Getting a service dog may not be an easy road, but a worthy one. We have some new blogs up on the site that you can read to learn how some families with PWS have navigated this path, what it looks like with a trained dog present in the life of someone with PWS, and how you can begin your search for an adorable and helpful new family member. So it was really fun actually to get into this topic and hear stories from other families. And I spoke with a couple people personally about it. And so this first article that we're going to link to is I spoke with Pia Dorson. She's a new part-time staff member, and she and her family are going to be getting their service dog here in a few months. And so she talked about the process that they've gone through, why they chose the type of dog or the foundation that they went through, how they're getting it paid for, which I think is a huge part because they are very expensive dogs.
Right. I think Pia too also in this conversation that you had with her really gives the reality to how long the process really takes.
Hmm.
And I think that's so important for people to know so they have an idea, an expectation ahead of
Hmm.
time that it's not, you apply for a service dog and they get delivered, in a month or anything like that. It really is a process, but again, a very worthy one that if it's something that you think your family could benefit from, your loved one could benefit from, there are so many great resources out there, and including in these articles that Annie put together on our website that have information about how to start that process. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciated learning more. And then I did also in this article, I got to speak with Patty Gross, who is the founder of the North Star Foundation, which is where Pia is getting their dog from. And she was a lovely woman to talk with. And I did ask her one question because we are a dog family and we have 5 dogs. And so I had asked, what does that look like bringing a service dog into that kind of a household? And not easy. I'll just say
Yeah, if you
that.
have
I stumped her a
several
little
other
bit.
pets. Gotcha. That's great to know too, right? There's so many, again,
Mhm,
expectations that you kind of need to understand and manage for yourself and your family, especially for our loved ones with PWS, getting those answers ahead of time so you know how to answer them for your loved one when they ask, and know what's going to happen how long it might take and how they'll adjust to their family life. So, a
mhm.
lot of great helpful information from her. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a great article if you really want to know the ins and out. And that's called Getting a Service Dog, How, Why, and Who Pays for It. And then the other 2 blogs were really sweet. They were contributed by other families just talking about their experience. So one is obtaining and training a service dog, and that was contributed by Rachel Johnson. A quote from that blog is having a service dog requires dedication to the process and a willingness to overcome some obstacles along the way. If you are willing to put in the effort required to train and maintain a service dog, the payoff is immeasurable. We absolutely cannot imagine our lives without Stanley. He has been a huge support to Ellie, in fact, our whole family, in this PWS journey. And that was a really sweet story about an individual living with PWS who already has a service dog. And then the third blog that we have was contributed by Winnie White, and this is Service Dog at Home and at School. And Winnie said Sandy K's dog's name is Fitz. He will be a facility dog during school hours, and when school is out, he will become Sandy K's personal service dog. He is being duly trained and certified as a service dog and a facility dog. So Winnie is also a teacher. She's Sandy Kay's teacher. So she's her mother and her teacher in a facility. So the dog, so I guess there's different expectations and the dog has to be trained for both. So I just thought that
That makes
was,
sense.
yeah. So that was just really appreciated really reading all of those stories. And I know that there's a lot of families interested in learning more. So hopefully they will find the information they're looking for in these articles.
Absolutely. And in these articles, there's photos of these
Mm.
dogs, and they are so adorable. And I love their names, Stanley and Fitz.
I know, it's
Um,
so cute.
it's so cute. And if other people have stories about,
Mhm.
having their own service dog or what kind of process they've been through before, if they've applied for one, we would love to hear it. Please email us communications@pwsausa.org, and we'd love to spotlight it. It's a conversation I think we would love to continue to have with the community and share more information as we get it. So please
Yeah.
let us know if you have an experience with this.
Yeah, absolutely. We did get an email from Italy. A mom sent a
Oh.
picture of her daughter and their service dog and wrote a little blurb. So that is actually Saturday's spotlight. So if you want to make sure you check on the socials and see that sweet picture and yeah, hear a little bit about Marley is that dog's name.
Oh, so precious. I'm so glad that we covered that topic, Annie, and got some great dog content in our lives.
Yeah, me too.
Never have enough. All right. So moving on to some events and fundraisers. As we mentioned last week, we will continuously be talking about the United in Hope PWS conference in 2025. And just to lay out some of the dates here, the conference will actually be happening between June 24th, 2025 and June 28th, 2025. And I wanted to give just a little breakdown of what programs are happening when for those listening and interested in attending and making some plans ahead of time. So, our clinical and scientific program, along with our professional providers program, will be happening June 25th and 26th of that week. And the clinical and scientific program is mostly for medical professionals in the PWS space, but we do have an opportunity for families, siblings, grandparents, anyone, in the family of a PWS individual to come and be an observer at those sessions. And again, it's very helpful, useful information to learn, and you'll be able to interact with medical professionals who are there. So, and hear directly from them because they're leading the sessions as well. So, a great opportunity if you have, medical, clinical, scientific, specific questions that you would like to be addressed.
So, Carrie, can you just clarify for me real quick on the clinical and scientific program? You say that families are allowed to come and observe. Is that an extra fee?
Yes, it is. So if they want to come and observe the clinical and scientific program the 25th and 26th, and then also want to attend our family program the 27th and 28th, it's $500, so an extra $250 to come the 4 full days instead of just the 2 family program days. And then also happening on June 26th, so during the clinical scientific program and the professional providers program, just on the 26th, though, we're doing a half day adults with PWS program. And we will be giving more details around what kind of sessions those are, but it's for individuals with PWS to attend who are 18 or older. And it's sessions specifically catered to them. I know that there's going to be a lot of conversations and sessions around socializing and making friendships and connections. And it's just a great opportunity for the adults to come together and be in the same room and learn from each other and from some experts that might be able to help in different scenarios and situations that they've been going through. So that'll be a great addition to the conference.
Yeah, I love that. I love that they're doing that.
Yeah. And then on the 27th and 28th, we will have our standard family program and PWS camps. So the family program is 2 full days of sessions for, parents, for caregivers, for siblings, grandparents, you name it. And of course, medical professionals and professional providers are welcome to attend those as well. And the sessions will range from a huge variety of topics. And we're working on getting that agenda together right now. So we will have that available in the next couple of months for people to really dive in and see what's topics and speakers will be available during the family program. And then also happening on the 27th and 28th will be the PWS camps, and they will be going on at the same time as the family program. So while the parents, caregivers, siblings, grandparents, everyone is in those sessions, they'll know that their loved ones are being taken care of in the amazing camps, which are different age groups. And if you, again, go on our registration website, we have all the details that you could need and want to learn about on our conference details tab on that webpage. So we encourage everyone to go check that out. But that's just a little overview of the kind of breakdown of dates and different programs happening at the conference next year. And we cannot wait for it. So if you are planning to attend the 2025 International PWS Conference, we do encourage you to book your stay at the Arizona Grand Resort and Spa as soon as possible. We do have 60% of the rooms already reserved, so availability is limited. You can reserve now, and you can cancel up to a week before the event without any charges, and you won't be billed until check-in. So we encourage you again to secure your room and ensure your spot at this very exciting event, and you can book your stay at the link in our show notes where you see hotel reservations, or you can call 877-800-4888 to make your hotel reservation. And one more promotion for our 2025 conference. We are still collecting photos for our 2025 PWS Conference mural project. And it's going to be a beautiful display of photos, images of those living with PWS on a very beautiful background that will kind of be our photo op spot for everyone. But we want to showcase, those living around the world, and you do not have to be attending the conference to submit a photo. So we would love you to submit regardless if you're planning to come or not, and you can find a link to submit those photos at the link in our show notes. So moving on to some upcoming fundraisers. Annie, have you ever heard of the Giving Pump?
I don't think that I have. I love the idea of it, but yeah, I don't think I've heard of it.
It's an amazing initiative that Shell gas station company puts on. And for the months in September and October at a specific Shell gas station in Rockland County, New York, they will be putting proceeds from the Giving Pump there towards PWSA USA, which is amazing. And we are so grateful to PWS mom, Dominique Valenti, for putting this on and making sure that PWSA USA is supported through this effort. She is a rock star. She did this for us last year as well. And I believe she had them add more pumps because it's typically just one at a gas station. It's wrapped in purple, but she was able to secure more pumps this year, more of the gas station pumps at this location to support PWSA USA with every fill up. So we are amazed by her.
I love that. And I don't know if you would know this, and maybe we have to speak to her directly. If somebody wanted to do, like if I wanted to do this, do you know what the first step is? Do we know that? Or we'll ask her. We'll get her to tell us.
Yes, I think Dominique should definitely share her journey and kind of how she set that all up. But I'd love to get her on the podcast even to talk about what, goes into that and what gave her the idea. And just some of that out of the box thinking for ways to support and get involved in your community. So
yeah, I love it.
we love to see this effort. So a big shout out and thank you to Dominique and Shell USA and to those filling up their tanks through the Giving Pump. Thank you. A great upcoming event that we would love to promote here on the podcast is the inaugural RMC Foundation golf outing, which will be taking place on Monday, September 30th. So upcoming very soon here. It will have an 8:30 a.m. shotgun start and takes place at the Ritz-Carlton Members Only Golf Club in Bradenton, Florida, which is a very exclusive golf course, if I'm not mistaken. So a great opportunity to get out on maybe a course you haven't tried before. So, but this is being hosted by our wonderful advocacy volunteer, Jen Garcia, and her family. And the proceeds will benefit PWSA USA. So we are incredibly grateful to Jen and for all the hard work that she's done putting into this event. And registrations are still being accepted. So you can register to attend at the RMC Foundation Golf Outing link in our show notes. And we encourage everyone to attend if you can. And again, big thank you to Jen.
Are you a golfer?
I am a golfer.
You are. Oh,
Yes.
cute.
My dad forced my siblings and I to golf as soon as we could walk. So I don't know if I would say it's a hidden talent I have, but not many people, I tell that to. So
Oh, wow.
if they see
Okay.
me on the golf course, they're like, what? Wait. Oh,
Oh, that's cute.
but
So
it's very
what's a
fun.
shotgun start? That just means like the shotgun goes off and everybody has to start at the same time? I don't.
I believe so. I honestly haven't been to a golf tournament before.
Okay.
I'm not that good, Annie.
Oh, I don't believe that.
So I don't put myself in situations where many eyeballs would be on me. But yeah, I believe a shotgun start is just the first group tees off essentially because it's a bigger group of golfers that attend tournaments. So they'll be placed into groups of roughly 5 or 6 people. So that just means the first group would get set out onto the course and then
Okay.
followed by the rest. So yeah,
Okay.
learning about golf.
Maybe we'll see you on the golf course at the conference.
Yes, that's a great point, Annie. Rewinding a little bit, the Arizona Grand Resort and Spa has an incredible golf course. So there's also, when you go to book your hotel, links on the website where you can reserve tea times or spa appointments even. They have a great spa as well. So
Yes.
if you're a golfer, if you're bringing your family and, you and your husband love to golf, that's a great activity as well there. So hope to see you out on the course. You'll
Yeah.
probably see me. All right. And then if anyone listening is interested in hosting a PWS United event in your city, your hometown, please contact us at hopeunited@pwsausa.org. We are here to help set those up and help you help the PWSA community.
Okay, so we're going to move on to advocacy, and it is a quiet time at the moment for advocacy in some ways, but think of it as like the calm before the storm.
Absolutely.
Knowing
I
what,
think Dorothea would agree.
yeah, I know.
She's kind of setting up the background
Mhm.
things of the calm in quotes for
Yeah.
the
So
storm.
get ready, everybody. Hold on. Uh, but we do have this really lovely spotlight on advocacy that we are excited to share. So recently in Minnesota, Jen Andrews and her daughter Jojo, Denise Cervais and her daughter Maya, and Lynn Garrick and her son Alex, they met with Representative Angie Craig to discuss the challenges faced by those living with PWS. And during the meeting, everyone had an opportunity to share personal stories and the ongoing needs of our community, including better healthcare access, education, and support. So, Representative Craig, who was one of the elected officials to sign our congressional letter to the FDA in support of PWS treatments, showed genuine interest in the community's concerns. This meeting marked a meaningful step forward in advocating for the needs of PWS families. So, we will have a link in the show notes for a full recap of the meeting and testimonials from those who attended. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who showed up and spoke up for PWS and families in Minnesota.
And I did really quick, Annie, want to share what Denise said in her testimonial about this meeting because Maya added some of her take on it as well, which I think is beautiful. So Denise and Maya said that Congresswoman Craig was receptive to our concerns and asked thoughtful questions. Knowing that we are advocating for the people we care about with PWS made the experience all the more meaningful. And Maya echoed her mother's sentiment and shared that she got to tell Representative Craig about PWS and how it's hard to be hungry all the time. And so those are honestly critical, imperative moments for these representatives. And I think we saw that in our DC fly-in this past May, Annie, having individuals with PWS be present in those meetings and share their stories themselves and really represent what they're feeling, what they're experiencing. So I'm really glad that Jojo and Maya were able to attend and have their voices heard in this meeting as well.
That was one of my favorite parts of DC was not only meeting adults with PWS, but also going into some of those meetings and seeing these individuals with PWS just advocating for themselves. And someday I'm going to take Freya. It's just such a powerful thing to see. And I'm just
It
really
is.
proud of all of them.
Me too. It was incredible to witness. One of my favorite things that I've seen this entire year, experienced this entire year. So can't wait to go back.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of an amazing PWS advocate who was at DC as well with us and shared her stories is the wonderful Justice Rickenbach, which many of our listeners, I'm sure, know. But she contributed an incredible blog for World Narcolepsy Day. And we're getting into our family support section here, but this is our blog for the week so that we could put a spotlight on World Narcolepsy Day, which was September 22nd. And Justice shared in the blog that ever since I can remember, I have been tired. Not the kind of tired you feel when you stay up too late or how you feel at the end of a busy day. The tired I feel is more like how you would feel if you were forced to stay awake for days. This feeling would keep me from doing most things, and if I tried to do anything fun, I would not be able to stay awake to enjoy them.
I love that she started the blog with that because it just says a lot about what individuals with narcolepsy, with PWS, with that excessive daytime sleepiness, the challenges that brings every day. And I see it with
Absolutely.
Freya, and I hear about it from other individuals, and yeah, it's just
It really makes you understand and aware of, and I think tying or addressing too how maybe people typically would feel if they're tired versus how she feels when she's tired. Just
hmm
giving that kind of visual around it makes you just feel for her and for all of
hmm
these individuals with PWS who experience narcolepsy. So we were very happy to address this through Justice, having her do this. And you can read her full blog at the link in our show notes.
hmm Yeah, it's always more powerful when you hear it from, because we can sit here and talk about narcolepsy all day long and excessive
Right.
daytime sleepiness, which doesn't mean nearly the same as when you hear like Justice talking about it, or it didn't really hit me until Freya was describing it, how she felt.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just again so important to hear from individuals themselves.
Yep.
Sorry.
Continuing to echo that. Another blog that we put together last week is something actually quite beautiful and something that several members of the PWS community came together to do. So it started as a simple question, turned into an incredible weekend of laughter, friendship, blisters, love, organizational planning, and reminders of the fact that the best way to truly live this special needs life is to walk side by side with others. The inaugural PWS Moms Hiking Weekend took place in the Adirondack Mountains of New York between June 20th and 23rd of 2024. And you can read Amy, who is the event organizer's blog, at the link in our show notes to learn more about this great hiking weekend and how you can participate in the next one.
And that is Amy McDougall. I really enjoyed reading this, and I love the idea of, I mean, she invited me to sign up for the next one, but it's on the other coast. I live near the Pacific Crest Trail. So I'm interested in what if us West Coast mamas get together and put one together. So if anyone's interested, maybe we can talk about that.
That's a great idea. Coast to coast, PWS
Yeah.
Moms Hiking. I like it.
Yep.
I know that the laughter was just far beyond any other one of those descriptor words that we use there. All I heard over and over again was how much laughter there was and smiles and just a great time. So I'm so glad that the moms are able to do this once in a while. Seems very, very needed.
So our nurse Lynn for the week was about food anxiety. It was submitted for a male 33 years old with deletion. And the submitter said, "My son is mostly behaving and he is not aggressive. However, lately he gets up in the morning upset, anxious, and wants more food. For the rest of the day, he is okay. He used to take Cipralex. He does not want to take it anymore. Not that I have seen much of a difference. How can I help him?" And you can go to the link in our show notes and you can read Nurse Lynn's response. You can also go to the blog, and at the bottom of the blog, you can submit your own question that you have for our wonderful Nurse Lynn.
Nurse Lynn Garrick on our team is so knowledgeable. She honestly has answers to all of these medical questions that we submit to her. And we actually asked her if she would come on the podcast once in a while and do specific Ask Nurse Lynn episodes. So if you submit your questions, we would definitely ask her in the podcast as well for some of those answers. So, yeah, please send us your questions.
So our family support webinar that's coming up in October is support PWS research and create community. And this is for the PWS Connect channel on Discord. So if you want to learn more about what PWS Connect on Discord is and how you can join it, this is a great webinar to join. So this webinar is to learn how you can help advance PWS research while also finding and building community support. And PWS parents Maria Picconi and Chris DeFelice are excited to share how their personal journey with PWS led them to create the PWS Connect channel on Discord, a place where caregivers come together to share their journeys, experiences, questions, and advice to support each other and directly impact the progression of PWS research. So this webinar will explain the what, why, and how of Trend Community and the PWS Discord group. We will include time for your questions. We hope you join us for a new wave of PWS insights and growing research, and we will have a link to register in the show notes. And that webinar again is October 29th. It's a Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you missed Patrice Carroll's webinar from September, which I'm sure was amazing, I unfortunately missed it. I'm excited to watch the recording.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I bet. Oh man, I know. We were at the clinical trial, so we missed it. But there is a recording for everybody who missed it, and the webinar was Friendship and Beyond: Navigating Relationships and Sexuality in PWS. And Patrice Carroll, of course, most of you know. If not, she's just an amazing, wonderful human with a ton of experience working with people with PWS.
She does. She works at Latham Centers, the residential facility. And Patrice gave her, just to give a little insight into this recording, Patrice gave her presentation, but then they took a lot of personal questions and provided answers specific to those in attendance. So if anyone who watches the recording has their own questions that weren't addressed in her presentation, Patrice said that people can reach out to her directly and ask her those questions if you missed the in-person webinar. So we will make sure to have her email as well in our show notes for you to reach out to her. Moving on to some research news now, we are currently collecting abstract submissions for our 2025 International PWS Conference. We are collecting abstracts for the clinical and scientific program and for the professional providers and caregivers program. And you can read more information about how to apply and submit this abstract, as well as all the parameters around submitting at the link in our show notes. And the deadline to submit for the professional providers program is coming up pretty quickly. It's November 5th, 2024. And then the clinical and scientific program submission deadline is January 31st, 2025. So a little bit more time there. But if you're interested in submitting an abstract, please do that as soon as you can. We would love to highlight the important work that you're doing. We also have a few more Echo for PWS webinars coming up. These are specifically for healthcare providers in the PWS space to attend, but any recording of these webinars is being saved that families can rewatch on our YouTube channel. The next one that's coming up is Thursday, October 24th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern, and that is with Dr. Deepan Singh, who has so much great knowledge and resources and assistance that really has helped many people in the medical community in the PWS space for over the last many years. And the topic that he's going to be discussing is psychiatry in PWS, and that will be on Zoom. And you can find the registration link to that in our show notes. We also have another Echo for PWS webinar on November 11th. That's a Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern with Daniela Rubin, and her topic will be on exercise physiology. And if you want any other details about our Echo for PWS series, you can find a link to learn more information in our show notes.
And finally, our PWSA USA resource spotlight for the week is our residential provider directory. Are you considering a residential living setting for your loved one with PWS but don't know where to start? We offer a comprehensive list of residential facilities around the country that can help support families with PWS. The decision to move your loved one to a residential facility will likely spark a lot of questions and considerations. And we at PWSA USA are here to help you determine why and how this might be the right path for your family. So you can find that directory in the link in our show notes. A few weeks ago, it was Direct Support Professionals Week. And so we thought we would add a little bit more to that. So definitely, if you are interested in that or if you have any questions, you can reach out at info@pwsausa.org to learn more, or you can find the directory at the link in our show notes.
And if you haven't listened to our Direct Support Professionals Week podcast episode yet, we highly recommend listening to that. And that's kind of how I wanted to end, Annie, was a mission moment just about that episode and the fact that the 4 panelists came together and talked through some really emotional and real things and just opened up about the work that their direct support professionals do on their teams and just how important they are to individuals with PWS in helping them grow and thrive in life. So please go listen if you haven't already. And even though Direct Support Professionals Week has come and gone, we think it should be a year-round recognition. So if there's direct support professionals in your life that have really, helped your loved one, a simple email or call or letter could go a long way in just making sure that they know that they're supported as well. So yes. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to this episode of PWS United. And next week, we can't wait to bring you a very special new episode that will highlight something specific that Annie is working on. If you want to give a little overview, Annie, to get people excited.
Yeah, well, Freya has started her first ever clinical trial. And I came from a place of being really not trusting of Western medicine, in my youth. And now here I am, my daughter's in a clinical trial, and I'm really excited about it. And I think there's gonna be a lot of great things about it. But, part of the reason that I felt comfortable doing this is from talking with other families and learning more about it. And so I would like to bring that to families. So I'm kind of documenting our experience. So it's not just this kind of not ethereal, but, I think sometimes it can just seem really daunting, the idea of a clinical trial. Well, what does that mean? What goes into it? What does that look like? So I'm hoping to kind of uncover some of that for families who are maybe on the fence of if they're going to do one or not. And so I'm excited to bring that to it. We've got some other families that might be joining in on that. And then our special edition Pulse is going to be kind of everything clinical trial, or well, a lot of clinical trial. So people can learn more about what clinical trials are out there, kind of what they can expect, how they can get involved, things like that. So I think it'll be a really good one. It'll be a really informative one, and hopefully kind of bring some things out of the shadows for families.
Absolutely. And, clinical trials are integral to creating drugs for the PWS space and community. So highlighting this, especially at a time where we have, several drugs in trial right now, one with an NDA, it's very top of mind. It's, very prevalent in the community right now. So we thought it would be a great opportunity, especially as Annie said, as her and her daughter are going through this experience, to pinpoint a lot of the questions that are out there and encouraging more families to participate and at minimum, learning more about clinical trials in general and seeing if it's a right fit for you and your family. So thank you, Annie, for documenting and bringing your personal experiences, and to Freya for being okay with doing this.
Yep. I have her consent, just if anybody's wondering.
Yes, definitely need to make sure she's okay, but she's such a good sport.
Yeah, she is. Usually. Until she's not. That's one of those, if you know, you know.
Right.
PWS
I'm sure a lot of people are
parents.
nodding their heads as they're listening. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, Annie. Great talking to you today.
You too. Thanks, Carrie. Hey guys, it's Annie here. I just wanted to pop in here real quick and invite you all to be a part of this podcast. So Halloween is on the horizon, and we know that this day can cause serious challenges in families with PWS. We also know that you all are adaptable and creative and have found ways to enjoy the holiday in a PWS-friendly way. We'd love to hear how your family navigates Halloween and share your voice on the podcast. Here's how to do it. Record an audio file on your phone's voice memo app, or record a video telling us how you navigate Halloween with your loved one with PWS. Please keep your submission under 1 minute. You can submit your audio or video file using the link in the show notes. Please note that videos will likely be shared on our social media pages. All appropriate submissions will be shared on the podcast, our social media pages, and/or a special Halloween blog. So please get those submissions in because we are excited to hear and to share your PWS-friendly Halloween tip. Thank you for listening to this episode of PWS United. If you would like to learn more about Prader-Willi syndrome and how PWSA USA is making strides in advocacy, family support, and research, please visit www.pwsausa.org. While you're there, we encourage you to sign up for our Pulse email newsletter to stay informed about the latest news, resources, and events. And don't forget to subscribe to the PWS United podcast so you never miss an episode. Our team is always available to support families and their loved ones living with PWS. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. You can call us at 941-312-0400 or email info@pwsausa.org. Catch a new episode next Tuesday, and until then, have a great week.